Go live. And we're off. How we're all doing. Welcome back to another episode from Tailors with Love. If you're over on the YouTube, well done you. You're a day early. We're doing this as an Only Bond live stream. And I have top right, my man in a field, Daniel Gaster. How are we doing today, Daniel?
Good evening. I'm doing very well. Thank you, Peter.
Oh, good. And guys, drop comments if you're around. I'll see if we can pull them in. Dan, you're on the controls, right? So you can do these.
I can do a few, yeah.
You can handle all the controls. That's good news. Bottom left, we have our man in another field somewhere in Harlem. We've got Ken from Oceanographer. How are we doing today, Ken?
Hey, Pete. Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. Oh, doing the Lord's work out there in New York, keeping an eye on Brad and George and all their movements.
Yeah, there's no restraining order yet, but we'll see how.
Well, the day's young. And bottom right, we have my co-author, editor of Bond Suits, Matt Spaiser. How are we doing today, Matt?
Yeah, I'm doing great, Pete.
Excellent, great. And again, we have people joining us. Good to know. Good to know you're out there. Thanks for jumping on board. Well, a lot to get into today, so I thought I'd start off by doing a little roundup of the private screening that we had over the weekend for Octopussy. So it was my birthday, so I thought, well, why don't we just get all the Bond nuts in one room and we'll watch the heck out of Octopussy. And it was kind of fun because it took a while to plan, like getting bums on seats basically to watch Octopussy. What was funny, the first person that I invited was Jonathan Softcott, because I know he loves Octopussy and I know he'll be around. And he replied instantly. He says, yep, I'm on board. Let's make this happen. I said, great. He goes, do you want me to bring Burkoff? I said, sure. Why don't you bring Burkoff? He goes, all right, well, I'll bring Burkoff. You go ask John Glenn. I thought, oh, yeah, I could actually just invite people from the cast. So I put the feelers out. I asked the likes of Carol Ashby, David Walliams, all the people that I kind of half know and have rubbed shoulders with over events over the years. And one by one, they all said no, which was expected. So anyway, it was just Bond nuts that came, which was really fun. Dan came, missed the last train home, but you came, didn't you, Dan?
I did. Yeah. Just I got stuck at the station near to your house. Missed the and then the next train was like 20 minutes away, and missed my train by about a quarter of an hour. And then my ticket said we can get the next train, which is at I think it was like 9:45, and that train didn't exist. So,
hey. Well, everyone came from quite far away. I mean, John Nichols came from Birmingham, drove down to Heathrow, then got a train from Heathrow over to Chiswick, which, I mean, all of these sounds quite redundant if you're not really familiar with the topography of the UK. But trust me, long journeys and pilgrimages were made. And Thomas Felix Crichton came and he stayed on my couch. But what was funny, after we piled back from the cinema, then we went to the pub. I realized I'd been drinking probably solidly for 12 hours, quite by accident, because people had turned up early and wanted to do the Hammersmith Bridge, the No Time to Die location. So I met them down there. Straight from there, we had drinks at mine, and then straight to the cinema, Prosecco. Anyway, it was just an unexpected day of boozing and not eating. So I had like one box of sweet popcorn throughout the entire day. So when we got back to ours, Thomas had already got himself settled on the couch, and I give him a knock on the door. I'm like, Thomas, I'm coming in, and we're watching A View to a Kill. Roger, it's just me. It's just me. Roger just got excited thinking that Thomas was at the door.
Classic.
But see, Thomas is like, what? Okay, we're gonna plow on through morning.
I thought Thomas had a hotel. Did that sort of fall through, or was that never the case?
Well, no.
He's on the chat. He can tell me.
Yeah, Thomas, you're on the chat. Have I blown your cover? Sorry, Thomas. No, he hung around here, which was good fun. But yeah, is there anything worse than someone that's been drinking for 12 hours knocking on your door at 1:30 in the morning and saying, I'm coming in and we're watching A View to a Kill? Anyway, so a lot of good fun was had. I did, just real quick, I did glean a couple of things from this watch of Octopussy that I'd not really thought of before. Now, we all know that Roger loves a good kiss, and he is probably like the most potent kisser of all the Bonds. But the one he lays on Maud Adams in this is like I like to call it the headlock kiss, where he just kind of barges in and then wham, bam, I mean, straight in there. I mean, have you ever done that where you've just had an argument with your missus? You know, you leave the toilet seat up again, bang, into the room, and then you just follow in after her and get her in a headlock and basically start kissing her. And everyone actually really enjoyed that, didn't they, Dan? That actually got a round of applause when Roger bolstered in there.
It was really good, and then every so often Blair kept sort of shouting at AJ, so like, tell us about this.
Oh yeah, poor old AJ on the front row was giving director's commentary. I was asking him, like, no, how old is she and how old is he? And he's like, Roger's 55, she's 17. I said, brilliant. that was the question I was asking more than not. And so it was peak Roger, it's peak kissing time, and it's also peak time for J turns in movies, right? So every movie in the 80s either had to have a big kiss or a big J turn, and this had both. And it was getting so bad in the 80s that even the cops got to do the J turns. Like ancillary characters just went, that's it, I'm doing a J turn. So
all-time high for J turns.
All-time high. I mean, we have Knight Rider to blame for that. That whole series was just geared around J turns and nothing else. So,
well done.
Anyway, that was Octopussy, and I want to thank everyone for coming out and all their kind messages and gifts. Right, on with the show. Finally, Dan, what have we got in the news?
Well, let's start off with placemats.
Oh. New in. So what's going on with the placemats?
So 007 store have launched placemats. So you can purchase a single placemat for £12.99 with one of the 25 Bond film posters. So here's one of the examples, which is Dr. No. And then we've got literally one for every movie. So it's literally take your pick. If you need a place setting for 4 or for 6, you can choose whichever ones you want.
Ken, which one are you going for out of all these?
Let's see. Do we have oh, there it is. A View to a Kill.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Top call, yeah.
Thomas's favorite. Why are you going for that?
Oh, it's Grace Jones's ass. Who wouldn't want to eat off that? Come on.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Strong choice.
Like, having a dinner party and putting these out for like non-Bond fans, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what I was going to ask. I mean, you're in a halfway house, right? Imagine you're bringing your boss round for dinner, and you might have got wind that he's a Bond fan or something. Well, let's put all these out. It's going to be a nice meal. I'm looking to get my promotion. It's halfway between saying I never grew up and became an adult, and the other half is saying I know you're a Bond fan, so I'm hoping you'll like these.
It's whether or not you choose the Bond that he likes. If you choose the one that he doesn't like, it's not going to work, is it?
Yeah, I guess. Matt, what would you go for out of these?
I'd probably go with the Live and Let Die, so I can ask my guests if they would like to live and let dine on these placemats.
Oh, Matt. Matt, that's a genius. The puns keep rolling in.
Yeah,
I think.
How about it? Maybe a Dr. Nosh.
I don't know. That sounds a little bit. I don't know if you want to be inviting people around for a Dr. Nosh.
Oh, I'll find them over for a view to a meal.
Oh my god! All right, we're gonna put a stop to this.
I think we've got to stop at that point.
We're gonna get pulled. Although, so I was thinking, I was going over times where Bond has had dinner in the films, and I looked to see if there was any placemats there, and so he sits down with Scaramanga. And he gets the mushrooms. Oh, mushrooms. And they have that conversation about how they're going to kill each other, you know, pistols at dawn and whatnot. And then he ends it really cordially, doesn't he? He goes, well, that's after we have this meal, the delicious meal that Nick Nack has prepared for us. And it sounds like there's going to be another hour of really nice chat, which I think as Bond fans, we've missed out on. And as Bond fans, or as men, if you get round a table, all you're going to do is either talk about construction or football. And so you can imagine I just imagine there's going to be another spin-off where he's just talking to Scaramanga about the construction on the island. You know, all the fake concrete over the set. Like, wow, you had to hollow out that entire island to get the telescopic beam out. That's amazing. And then you would just talk about that for an hour. I digress. But yeah, so that's interesting enough. What's next, Dan?
Next up, we've got news from Matchless. So you found this, Pete, which was on their Instagram, that they're bringing back the Craig Bolson from Spectre. So this is the original one that he had, and this is the natural one, which is, I think, closest. I think it's a slightly lighter shade than the one that was in the film, the one that I have, which was a limited run. But yeah, so that's up for €1,399, and they're bringing it out in several different colors. So we've got quite a selection here.
They don't seem to understand what chocolate brown is. It's more of a whiskey, but it looks great to me.
It's like a burnt orange.
Yeah.
From here.
Yeah.
Looking good. Matt, sorry, Dan, you've got the original one of these, right?
I do, yes. Yeah.
But they licensed at the time, man, because on these illustrations, they got the logo on them and everything.
So they still, on the one that worn in Spectre, it doesn't have the logo on the shoulder, but the original run, I think, was limited to something like 700. But that does have the logo on the side. It's pretty much bang on for what it was back in the day as well. I just think that the original color is slightly different to the natural that they're showing here. I think it's a bring it back to that one. As you can see, if you see in the photo, it looks slightly darker, and my one looks more like that color to this sort of natural color that they're showing in the picture.
This is great pod for anyone listening. They can just imagine different shades of mustard.
They've also got this, which I hadn't realized, which is this Craig Blazer. Now, this is available in a few different of those color options. Again, chocolate brown, which is sort of orangey, navy, and I'm not sure how to pronounce that. At Oteno.
Are those snaps on the pockets and everywhere?
Yeah, they've got them on the breast pocket and on the side pockets. Yeah, it's the same ones that they have on the pockets on the Bolson. But I just thought it was an interesting find because literally I was trying to just find it quickly on the website. So I typed in Craig, and this came up as well. So it was an interesting alternative.
So short for a blazer too.
Oh, I like the lapels on it though. Like dinner jacket lapels almost. Matt, you like these?
Not particularly. The Blouson probably works out better in this kind of in the suede for me.
Well, it's a good jacket. I like it in the film as well. Just a nice moment in the film, goes well with the very sepia look of whatever they did in post production to that scene.
I mean, maybe that's why the colors look different. I mean, it's every photo colors are different, so maybe it is closer to the real thing than than these photos let on, because we'd have to have Dan take his to the shop to compare.
Oh, yeah. Did they do a limited run? Are they doing a limited run of these?
No, they're just general sale. I mean, they've been out since 2015. They've been constantly there. The limited run, I think, lasted a year, and then these came out almost immediately after. So I don't understand why they did a limited run to just knock them out.
How often do you wear yours then, Dan?
Sort of spring, summertime. Don't tend to wear it much in the winter, so it's in a wardrobe somewhere, not behind me. But I did used to sort of treat it with kid gloves in terms of because of the color of it, sort of treat it like, can't wear it out because I'll get it dirty, or it'll be because of the suede. It's a really nice suede, but I kind of be a bit less restrictive on that now and just sort of wear it, and if it gets a little bit more battered than it does.
I thought you were going to be restrictive because of the price tag, not because of the
well,
color.
that's an element to it as well. I mean, it's.
Remember, we spoke to views from Mark, and he's got a spreadsheet of like the cost of a garment versus every day that he wears it, so you can equate, which I love, by the way. I'm well on board with this. I wish I started it with all my garments, but you can get like the money ratio of how many days you wear.
I do have a spreadsheet because when I started writing the articles, I put a spreadsheet together of everything that I bought bond related and the original price compared to like the price it is now and everything like that. But I never did the for how many days I've had it, what the cost per day is. So I kind of did the same thing, but for different reasons. But I mean, at the time there was the John Varvatos jacket, which is the navy jacket he wears at the end of the film, which is also a suede coat as well. I wear that much more often because it's a darker jacket and it's half the price.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're being really ambitious with all the colors. I feel like the kind of maroon one or like, the emerald green one, I feel like you're going to see that at 50% off after about 6 months. Some of these are all pretty standard, but if you go to the next slide.
I think the navy's looks quite nice, and even that Otanio doesn't. It looks. The violet might be a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, I'm not so sure on that one.
But I think the other colors people might like those. I mean, it depends on if they're getting this for the Bond connection or not.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Dan, you got a question from Boris.
Yeah.
Daniel, how was your original jacket quality? Because lots of people got damaged jacket badly. Got their damaged.
Yes, mine turned up and it had boot prints on it. So that sort of that sort of. But essentially, I gave it a rub down to sort of beat it all off, and it came out. But I wasn't entirely happy with that. I did see a lot of comments at the time about the quality of them, but essentially I gave it a once over with a brush and it was fine. So I didn't return it or anything like that. It was okay afterwards, but
was it second hand or was new?
No.
Some people pay extra. Some people would pay extra for that boot print.
Yeah.
It's
ripped. It's a limited edition,
and maybe some blood on it as well.
Yeah. I mean, it might have been returned from the set. I don't know.
Of course. What else do we have on the menu, Dan?
So we've got this rumor that's been going around about the Omega Bond Swatch or Moonswatch.
Mm-hmm. What do we know?
Well, I'm surprised by how many people kind of bought into this. Like, if you just look at the image, the band makes no sense. Like, it looks like that Milanese bracelet, but it doesn't have an end link. Like, it just kind of disappears. But I think we know now this was just Photoshop as part of, what was it exactly? It was a Scottish podcast?
Was it Scottish Watches podcast? Someone let us know in the comments. In fact, Phil, who was it? Sorry, his name's Phil on Instagram. He might be out there, he might be listening, but he let us in on it, on who it was. Yeah, it was a Scottish Watches podcast, I believe, that mocked this up and got everyone very excited.
Yeah.
Did you fall for it, Matt?
No. I knew it couldn't be right because it's not on theme for the Moonswatch. Bond is not a planet. It's not like a mission to Earth. It's not a mission to Uranus. It's just this doesn't make sense. This is not what a Bond swatch has been in the past. It's not what I think they would come up with for a Bond swatch.
I wonder if they'll come up with like a Swatch Master though, right? Like a Seamaster by Swatch, like a plastic version of it.
Because that would be a cool idea.
That would make more sense because he's never worn a Moonwatch or a Speedmaster, I should say. So it would make more sense that they would mimic something like one of the Seamasters.
Yeah. The Daniel Craig, he's wearing the Mission in Neptune, I think there, right? I've heard that blue kind of bleeds off on your skin pretty easily too. So the quality on these, I've got one right here. This is the Mission to Earth. And they call it bioceramic. It's just a quartz movement in here. It feels very plastic. It's very light. It feels kind of cheap, It definitely is like Swatch quality. It's just to the dimensions of of an Omega Speedmaster. And the branding on it, you can see there's Speedmaster in giant letters.
Oh, well, let me take the slide down.
I'll keep my arm up.
There we go.
Speedmaster giant on the back of the Velcro bracelet. You know, they spared no expense on that.
Mm.
Yeah.
It looks nice. I've got my Speedmaster on, but it's a Speedmaster Day-Date. This is like real Speedmaster. But it's not a Moonwatch though.
Yeah. And the other big problem with the Moonswatch was obviously the way they rolled it out. You know, they announce it and then people line up at the stores. They're told the day of, like, oh, you can only have one. They sell out instantly. They tell everyone it's going to go online. It never does. The only way to get one is really to pay on the secondhand market. Like I paid maybe $100, $150 over retail for this one just because I was curious. And it's not worth that, but it is kind of fun, and you kind of buy into the hype.
I think I saw one when I was looking up the swatch for this. I was just trying to look it up, did a quick Google, and it came up with like a ridiculous price, like £1,200.
Yeah, I've seen them as high as like 3,000, 4,000. Nobody's paying that though. That's just what somebody's
right?
Yeah.
I had a friend that said that he needed to get one of these really badly, so I just put him onto Lorenzo, but didn't get anything back. Have you spoke to Lorenzo, Ken, about this?
I haven't. I think he was able to track down one for David Zaritsky. I think David did a video. He's got the same exact one. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they do a swatch. They've done swatch Bond things before, but if they do one that's just a recreation of the Seamaster in plastic in different colors or something, I think that makes sense. But who knows? If they do it, they would have to, theoretically, they would make a lot more and just flood the market. But who knows?
Anything else on? Here we go. Go on, Matt.
Well, if you went diving in a Swatch Speedmaster, would you flood the watch?
Almost certainly, yeah.
Well, shall we move on, Giants, from that? Hey, Dan, just a sec. Dial it back a minute, mate.
Sorry, yeah.
That's all right. I'm going to do a trivia question for the audience. As we saw Octopussy over the weekend, trivia question is the Fabergé egg, as seen in the movie, was based on the imperial coronation egg designed by Peter Carl Fabergé. It was made in 1897 to commemorate the coronation of Tsar Nicholas II. The egg reappeared in what movie starring Bruce Willis? Ken, would you have got that? If I didn't show you the answer? I think you would have. So we'll read that out at the end. Comment if you can. Where did the Fabergé egg reappear and what film? All right. Tell you what, before we get on to the next slide, is Spencer Carter still in the comments? Because I think I've got something that will actually excite him. Spencer, I know you're a big Frank Foster fan. Just real quick, I'll just do a quick unsheathing of my new Frank Foster shirt for you, because I think you'll get a kick out of this. So this had the I haven't actually got it out of the cellophane properly yet, so it's still in a very here we go. Sorry, the light's not so good. I don't know if I hold it up to the light, maybe you can see how sheer it is. Probably not.
Well, you got
but just the collar.
Fabric.
Yeah,
but
the collar,
that's a big collar, yeah.
That's a beautiful. That's a beauty.
Beautiful.
That's a beauty. Look at that. Let's see if I can get up to the buttons and stitching. So this is the fabric that Roger Moore wore in his personal life. That's why I got this one. I personally selected it on that reason. Although I didn't get the cuffs, Matt, you spoke about this earlier, or off mic. I just got I got the single mited cuff.
Got a single this time.
Single button, yeah. That's what I must have gone for. Well, I'm into mitered cuffs now just because of ease. Cocktail cuffs I just find a little bit too much.
Yeah, Roger Moore only has one single button miter cuff in the whole Bond series.
All right. Is it For Your Eyes Only?
No, Moonraker. He has one in Moonraker. That's the only time. But For Your Eyes Only is always the two buttons. That's the only time I think he wears the 2-button cuff. But then we see Louis Jourdan wears that in Octopussy. He wears a 2-button miter cuff from Frank Foster and Octopussy.
Good to know.
Cuff as well, Pete.
Oh, here we go. We're in the Mitered Club.
Always wearing
All right.
Anto shirt. That's an Anto.
That's right. Yeah, Anto. Yeah.
Very nice.
Make a nice wide miter. I don't know what to call it. Wide gap miter.
I like
Yeah,
that.
It's quite wide.
I like that one.
You got the cocktail cuff on the Live and Let Die shirt there, Matt.
That's what I got.
That's
cuffs.
the original fabric.
Live
ladies and
and
gentlemen.
Die.
Jumping over the crocodiles, the original fabric. Anyway,
I think I'm getting I'm not getting in focus.
You got it.
Oh,
there we go. Very sexy. Very sexy. Oh, I actually involuntarily started touching my nipples at that point.
Good thing I took the video off you then.
Yes. I could just see me doing it in the lower screen. I thought, oh, crikey, better keep it PG rated. All right, guys, we better crack on. We've got 5 minutes left. And what have we got next, Dan? I don't have the... Is it Bargain Bond?
Bargain Bond.
All right, let me do the jingle.
How much should it fetch? 250, 300,000 pounds. Anything more, we're crazy.
Property of a lady.
Well, there are quite a few ladies here.
That killed 30 seconds.
Yeah,
what have we got?
Time.
I know, sorry.
Ken,
I'll take
you found this one, so I'll let you go.
My friend Trent, who you can find at the Traveling Bond on Instagram, sent me this. They're the Dr. No casino plaques, basically the casino chips. The recreation of those from Factory Entertainment. They're half off now at Big Bad Toy Store. So if you were thinking about it at $100, now they're down to 50. It's a great little find.
Ah, that's pretty cool. Are you putting a bid in?
Oh, I don't know. I usually invest in real casino chips, and then but I always seem to lose them. So I don't know.
Very good. What else have we got up there, Dan?
So this is an alternative to the tracksuit top from A View to a Kill.
This was suggested to me by Mark from Dress to Frill 007 on Instagram, and I have the Oliver Brown version of this from their Heritage line, but I don't believe they're making those anymore. I think those have sold out a long time ago. So this is actually a really good alternative, and you can find it over at Reese. And also, I believe if you go over to Dress to Frill 007 on Instagram, Mark will be talking about it over there already. And for 60 quid, bargain, no? So, yeah, good. Oh, and on eBay, 25 quid, you can find a pair of Levi's. According to the description, this is a near identical screen accurate match for the one that Danny Boy wore in Quantum of Solace. So not too shabby. 25 sheets over there, and we'll leave links maybe in the show notes. If not, just Google it. But you have to be pretty short like me, so I think it's a small waist and a small leg.
Yeah, that fit you, Pete.
That will actually. I should really be buying this.
You should. It's not going to fit me.
I will put a bid on the next one if that's the one that I'm thinking. Yes, look at this bad boy. That is a tie by Marks and Spencer's, real retro with 007 silhouette logos, like the kind of gun barrel 007.
Doesn't Chris have this tie? British Bond addict. I think I've seen him with this tie.
I don't know. I need to speak to Chris anyway. I need to have a chat with him. Yeah.
That's from the 90s. Maybe it kind of looked like the Brosnan silhouette. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. Well, I'm actually the highest bidder on that, so I think I put 5 quid down. So,
damn it,
I shouldn't have revealed my top bid. And Dan, I put this one up. It's a costume card I saw on eBay, but I didn't realize there's loads of them on there now.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, I have that one.
You got that one, Matt? This one
pretty sure I have that one. I have so many of them.
Royale. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I have that one. I don't think I paid that much for mine.
So are these are the original fabric from the screen-worn shirts or just from the bolt?
Yes. No. They should be from the shirts. Some of them are distressed. Some of them have blood stains. You'll find I have a very, very dusty suit swatch from Quantum of Solace.
So at the end of the movie, they took the costume and they cut it up?
Yeah, that makes no sense.
I think so. And maybe they were from damaged pieces, but
maybe like
that would make sense.
Duplicates, right?
Yeah, stunt guy suits and stuff. But I still think those would sell for a lot. I don't know.
Hey Dan, pull that Fabergé one down. I got something else for you.
All right then, sure.
real quick, you remember last week we spoke about the CD for £2 that just had the word James Bond inscribed on it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we now know what is on that CD. Are you ready for this?
Go on.
From Tailors with Love, I fly to you. I visit hotels to measure you.
Okay, all right, hold on a second.
Traveled the world to suit my needs. Recruit from Tailors with Love.
Yes. So that is, I think I played that a million years ago on the podcast. That's our good friend Matt Spaiser over there on vocals and making up some amazing lyrics. Matt, you did that years ago when I said we need to have an intro for the podcast.
Yes.
You put that together.
I did.
Did you play the organ on it as well?
No, I put together some MIDI track, all without a piano.
It's got a second verse and everything. It's got a bridge.
The whole thing is in there. Yeah, I mean, I followed the whole thing.
That's too good for a theme tune for your podcast.
I'm sorry I laughed so hard, Matt. There was just a moment where I realized it was you.
I remember I sent that to David Surinsky. He said he called me at like 3 o'clock in the morning when I sent it to him, and he goes, "What have I just listened to?" he literally had to pull the car over. Oh, brilliant! Oh, Matt, that was great. I've forgotten how good that was, by the way.
Yeah, thanks, Pete.
Forgotten how good that was.
Thank you.
Wow. Okay, we got to round this up. Maybe some listener mail. What do you think? We got a question. Actually, Matt, this was on your Facebook feed, I believe.
Yeah, I wished you a happy birthday, and this is what one of my longtime followers had responded to your birthday post.
Yeah, so what was great was I get about 25 notifications on Facebook. I'm like, oh, this will be nice. There'll be a few comments. And it's all the same comment. It's just this thread that has nothing to do with my birthday. But you guys decided to have a chinwag about Frank Foster shirts. But anyway, from Paul Murphy, Matt, quick question for you about Dr. No. When I met Frank Foster, he definitely told me he did the shirts for Dr. No. But on their site, Turnbull and Nasser say they did. And in their shop, there's a Dr. No shirt in the display case. What do you think? Over to you, Matt.
Okay, well, so so Frank Foster told me the same thing, that he had made shirts for Dr. No. He said that Turnbull and Nasser made some, and he made some. I couldn't get. I don't know for sure. I mean, Frank Foster did make shirts for many, many Bond films. I do know for sure that Turnbull and Nasser did make shirts for Dr. No because they have an order form to prove it. But that shirt that is in Turnbull and Nasser's display is not an original shirt. That is a modern replica that they sell now. But they do have forums. And if you listen to the commentaries or various different things from Terrence Young, he would always talk about how Lon Van made Sean Connery shirts, not Turnbull and Nasser. He will occasionally mention Turnbull and Nasser, but he normally spoke about Lon Van. Sean Connery spoke about Turnbull and Nasser making the Bond shirts. I know that Frank Foster made shirts for Goldfinger, that those are very different from the Turnbull and Nasser shirts. But the only proof for Dr. No is that Turnbull and Nasser certainly did make shirts. I also know that Frank Foster did work on Dr. No. He told me that he made Anthony Dawson's shirts. Anthony Dawson, Professor Dent, wears a cocktail cuff shirt in Dr. No, but the cocktail cuff is a different design from the ones that Connery wears, and it actually is the more of a Frank Foster design. So that was certainly something that Frank Foster did make for Dr. No.
Amazing. And that's how you say Lon Van. I was calling it Lanvin.
Well, it's French, Pete. Lon Van.
Lanvin. But then it's Lanvin.
Lanvin. Lanvin. No, I think it's
All
Lanvin.
right.
But I don't know.
They're
I'm
not going anymore, right? They
Oh no, they're
stopped?
still a business,
They're
but
still going, are they?
they're not making bespoke men's shirts anymore. It's like more like a typical fashion house.
Okay, good to know.
I'm not even sure what they do for men, but I know that I think of them as more of a women's fashion these days.
Okay, we better wrap this up, gents. We did have the answer to the quiz question. The Fabergé egg, as seen in the movie, was based on the Imperial Coronation egg. Which film did it appear in as well as Octopussy? The answer is Ocean's 12, 2004. And I know someone in the comments got that right. Who was it? It was Mike Statsny. I've screwed your name up, Mike. Sorry about that, but you got it right. Ocean's 12. You see, I threw you a
Nice.
curveball with the Bruce Willis thing because he turns up as a cameo. He's not even credited, is he, Ken? He didn't want to be credited.
That's correct. And it's not just Bruce Willis, the actor, it's Bruce Willis as the character as well. He's just playing himself.
That's right. Yeah. Which is nuts. I actually thought that was the best bit of the movie because I've only seen it once. And but the whole conceit the whole conceit of Julia Roberts playing a character and then saying, "Oh, I actually look like Julia Roberts." Do you all know that? And then they have to play along with that. But Bruce Willis turning up, I think, was actually the best bit and recognizing her. So,
yeah, when you look at Soderbergh's filmography, there's movies like Schizopolis or in like Full Frontal. There's a lot of like plays with like meta reality and textuality. You don't see that in the mainstream stuff, but that was kind of a throwback to kind of what he's more interested in.
Mike Stasny saying, "What do I win? An iPad or something?"
Pretty good. Pretty good.
We'll send you the CD. We'll send you the CD that with the demo on it. Send the post to you. All right, great. Listen, Dan, my man in a field. Thanks for producing the show. Thanks for coming on Sunday. It was great seeing you. And Ken from @Oceansographer on Instagram. Everybody should be following Ken right now because he's following George and Brad out there. You know, sacrificing sleep and whatnot.
Stalking is another word for it. Yes.
Stalking is the word I was groping for. Thank you. And Matt Spaiser @Bondsuits. Everybody knows that place and the place to go. So, gents, great chatting, catching up, and until next time. Ring.